All right. Feel the live day. Should be live day, man. Wonderfully live. Cool. Bam, 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 bam. Let's go back this side here. Cool. Nice. Put that there. And good night. Bam, bam. YouTube this. Bam, bam, bam. So this is maths 2023. Right. Making sure look at him, huh? Whoever did. Talk to me. Want? No, that's not what I want. Yeah. Alright, so without further ado, I'll make sure I look at him. I'm just test this here and see. Alright, good. I see no look at him. Good. Loud and clear. And I can minimize it. Alright, so as far as it's concerned, there's just some questions we're practicing. Right, so I just put them in my part A, part B. Right, fellas, so men don't get in trouble now. Part 2 and then part C. Overlord and Matthew is seen. Right, before we start, how, for those who hear, how will I find the exam was? I just browse through it. It look alright. It look pretty simple, pretty easy. 1A, B part 1, part 2, C and C. Okay. Seen made a boo-boo. Part C. Alright. Then we go to number 2. Alright. So hence factorize and then okay, this part C here. Alright, so we go look up number 1 first, as per usual. And we go take questions at the end of number 1 and then do number 2 and take questions at the end of number 2 and do number 3 and so on and so forth, right? Alright. Let's see what we can do. Hopefully I could see the questions good day. I'm not too sure. I will always verify here. I'm gonna just make it a little bigger for them, man. Nothing wrong in that. But then again, let's see these things already, right? I should be able to see that. Alright, so let me go. Solve the equation 3 to the power 2x plus 1. 1 part A. 3 to the power 2x plus 1 minus 5 into 3 to the power x minus 2 is equal to 0. Very strange to start with an indices question, a logs question. Very, very strange, but a small thing. All right, so there's a substitution question. So it's looking like we have to let a or u or y be 3 to the power x. So I'm going to split up this here. 3 to the power 2x multiplied by 3 to the power 1 minus 5 into 3 to the power x minus 2 is 0. Change how this does look. That 3 to the power x to the power 2 multiplied by 3 minus 5 into 3 to the power x minus 2 is equal to 0. So let me make life easy. Let y be equal to 3 to the power of x. So I end up with 3y squared minus 5y minus 2 is equal to 0. Right? 3 2s are minus 6. So the factors of minus 6 that will add to give me minus 5 is minus 6 and 1. So 3y squared minus 6y plus y minus 2 is equal to 0. 3y into y minus 2 plus 1 into y minus 2 is 0. Y minus 2 into 3y plus 1 is 0. Y is equal to 2, or y is minus a third. If you remember, y is 3 to the power x. So you had to recall that y was actually 3 to the power x. So 2 will be 3 to the power x. I cannot bring the bases to be the same thing. I'll introduce logs. Me personally, I like to introduce ln, or I could introduce log to any base. Naturally, you could use lg, some of you all. So we could take ln on both sides. Some of you all would have taken lg on both sides, and that's a-okay. ln2 is ln 3 to the power x. Here we have to use our law of logs. So as I use our law of logs, I'll recall the law of logs. If I have log of a to the power c to base b, the laws work both ways. C comes in front, log of a to base b. So I'll end up with ln2 is x ln3, and ln2 divided by ln3 will give me x. That's one of the solutions. Or I have minus a third is equal to 3 to the power of x. Unfortunately, I cannot bring bases to be the same thing here. It might look a little tempting, but that minus could be a problem. How much marks will you lose if you left it as x is equal to log of 2 to base 3? X is log of 2 to base 3. You know what I want to come from now, girl? I'm going to entertain that question at the end of this question, right? Over here, we go do the same thing. We go take ln on both sides. Ln of minus a third is ln of 3 to the power x. There's a problem, but I had to tell the people there's a problem. So we go recall that if I have log of a to base b, both a and b must be greater than 0. So ln of minus 1/3, shucks, ln of minus 1/3 is equal to ln of 3 to the power x. This has no solutions. Therefore, x is just ln2 over ln3 only. So you have the paper. How to answer that, boy? No, I don't have the paper. Number 1. Oh, giving your answer. Oh, they say giving your answer to 3 decimal places. So we can't leave it as exact. We had to change it. So ln2 divided by ln3. 0.63 to 2 decimal places, they say. 3 decimal places, so it will be 0.631. 0.631 to 3 decimal places only. Let me tackle part B. Oh, Sonia, your question. How much marks will you lose if you left it as x is equal to log of 2 to base 3? So you get log of 2 to base 3. Or you convert this indice back to a log. You should get a good. If that is equal to x, yeah, you'll be fine with that. That's completely acceptable. Right? You will lose no marks. But if you're doing that, right, you have to tell the people which law of logs you use. So you will have to recall, if I have log of a to base b is equal to c, you have to show them the transition from log to indice and back to log. So you get b to the power c is equal to a. You have to show them this recollection. Once you show them that recollection, full marks. You got to go. Okay, what is he seen? Given that 3x plus 2 is a factor, find the value of b. All right, remain non-factor theorem, right? From the time you see a remain non-factor theorem in the mix, the first thing you should do is quote the remain non-factor theorem. So you can recall, if any polynomial f of x is divided by x minus a, the remainder is f of a. If f of a is 0, x minus a is a factor of f of x. Oh shoot, yeah, girl Sonia. Well, you go be in a kind of pickle there, girl. You go lose marks there. Oh shit. You go lose marks there, I don't remember that. Since they say 3 decimal places, you go have to use, if you're doing it that way, you go have to use change a base and express it to 3 decimal places. If you want to see change a base, just let me know, I'll go do it quick. For this one here, they never tell me what f of x is. So I go say let f of x be 3x cubed plus bx squared minus 3x minus 2. And I go say f of x divided by 3x plus 2. That could be f of minus 2/3. If I don't know how I get minus 2/3, something wrong. And we know that all this is equal to 0 because they did say that all this is a factor. So I go let 3 into, well, I go let f of minus 2/3 equal 0. 3 into minus 2/3 cubed plus b into minus 2/3 squared minus 3 into minus 2/3 minus 2 is equal to 0. So this question is easy to make a mistake. So I hope all they would have taken all the time and do this question. 3 into minus 2/3 cubed. I'll leave in all the b term, I'll work in all the constants first. Take away 3 into minus 2/3. Take away 2 is minus 8 over 9. Look this on the screen. We have minus 8 over 9, that is constant. And this here becomes 4 over 9. So we get plus 4 over 9 b is equal to 0. Well, make life easy for yourself. You could do a couple things here, right? We could move the 8 over 9. We get 4 over 9b is 8 over 9. Cross multiply. We go get b is equal to 2. If I send the 9 on top and I send the 4 below, I'll get 8 divided by 4. The 9s will cancel and I get b is equal to 2. If all I get these answers, just let me know now. Say so. Say so. Now I will be doing the solutions how I will be the best way I see fit to do the solutions, right? So I will see my writing all my statements. I will show every single piece of working because I want to guarantee my distinction now. Hence, factorize completely. All right, so we know that how f of x will become 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. If I have to factorize this completely, I can do one of two things, right? I can use synthetic division, or I can do my long division. Now, most of you all might do the long division way, so I will do the long division way, right? Long division will allow us to get the quadratic and then factorize that quadratic if possible. So I will have, we know that how 3x plus 2, we know that how that follows a factor. So when I divide in 3x cubed plus 2x squared minus 3x minus 2, I divide my x's. 3x cubed divided by 3x, I go in and get x squared. I will get 3x cubed plus 2x squared. When I take these things away, it's an easy thing, man. I will get 0, and I bring these things down. I get minus 3x minus 2. 3x minus 3x divided by 3x could be minus 1. Minus 1 by 3x is minus 3x. Minus 1 by 2 is minus 2. Well, this was a real easy long division, us. G's and H's, real easy long division. So now we're saying, therefore, f of x will be equal to 3x plus 2 into x squared minus 1. And don't get wax. This could be factorized further. This is a difference of 2 squares. So you need to say, you could either come in your working column or you could say it right here. X squared minus 1 is actually x squared minus 1 squared. And this is a difference of 2 squares, which is going to be x minus 1 into x plus 1. So f of x is 3x plus 2 into x minus 1 into x plus 1. I ain't gonna do that as yet, boy. Give it a little while now, given that the sensitivity of what happened with the mathematics paper. We go ease up on distributing the paper. I get on our group chat and I'm sure it will circulate. Right? But don't fight up. You're actually getting all the questions here, right? It's just in pieces. The last piece, this will be the end of number 1. Determine the values of p for which the function has 2 real distinct roots, giving an answer in its simplest form. Well, we know for real and distinct roots, the discriminant will be greater than 0. Real and distinct roots, b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. So I have p x squared plus 3x plus 2p. A is p, b is 3, and c is 2p. b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. 9 minus, that is 8. 4 to the 8. P squared is greater than 0. I'm moving the 9 on that side. I get minus 8. P squared is greater than 9. Minus 9, sorry. I'll divide by the negative. So I get P squared is less than minus 9 over minus 8 becomes 9 over 8. P will be less than the square root of 9 over 8. But what I want to do here, my two solutions here going to be positive 3 over root 8. So this is what you're going to do, right? I will let p squared equal 9 over 8. P will be equal to the square root of 9 over 8, which is root 9 over root 8, plus or minus, sorry. Plus or minus, root 9 is 3 over root 8 is root 4 by root 2, which is 2 root 2. That is my two solutions. P squared is a positive coefficient, so it will be a minimum point. The two roots going to be minus 3 over 2 root 2, as well as 3 over 2 root 2. We want to know where the graph is less than. The graph is less than will be between the two values. So the answer is going to be P is such that minus 3 over 2 root 2 will be less than P should be less than 3 over 2 root 2. Right, that'll be a range of values for which this function has real and distinct roots. Good. Yes, school learning. Yes, very, very, very good. Very good job. All right, so that is the end of number 1. I believe, yes, that's the end of number 1. So let me gauge up on number 2. Number 2 is Sakai. Number 2 is look up thing. So I could do these two pieces in one. Now I hope all you would remember. I'm gonna do this solution inside of the question, right? If you left it as root 8, they did say giving your answer in its simplest form. So the most you might lose is you might lose 1 mark, or they will give you full marks, but you're going to lose marks towards that all A's in a profile. Right? That is one of two things that could happen. All right, this is an easy completion of the square question. We have f of x is 3x squared minus 9x plus 1. It have plenty ways to complete the square. The particular way I complete the square, we can do it in one line, right? So hopefully all you remember what the answer was. So when I complete this square, I'm going to get 3 into x squared minus 3x plus minus 3 over 2 squared plus 1 minus 3 into minus 3 over 2 squared. So I force the brackets to be a perfect square. X minus 3 over 2 squared. And all I had to do is work out the outside. 1 minus 3 into minus 3 over 2 squared. And I get minus 23 over 4. You need to tell the people is of the form A into x plus b squared plus c, where A is 3, b is minus 3 over 2, and c is minus 23 over 4, are all real numbers. State the coordinates of the minimum point of f of x. You could always double check your work here if you're good with your calculus. Remember, if you differentiate and you get dy dx is equal to 0, you get a minimum or maximum point. We know that this is a positive x squared, so that would be so we know it's a minimum point, but we also know at minus hk, that is where the minimum point occurs. In this case, it's not minus h, but it will be minus b. It wouldn't be k, it will be c. So at minus b comma c, we have the minimum point. So you just state the minimum point occurs at minus b comma c, which is going to be 3 over 2, comma, minus 23 over 4. Now, if you want to guarantee that this question is correct, we have, just to double check, 3x squared minus 9x plus 1, differentiate it. Okay, f dash x is 3 2s are 6x minus 9, put it equal to 0, solve for x. 6x is 9, x is 9 over 6, which is equal to 3 over 2. You get x value, plug it into here, you're going to get a corresponding y value, which will turn out to be minus 23 over 4. Right? And you could have used this method for part 2 because they never say hence. They just say state the coordinates of the minimum point. So you could have used either way to do this. Oh, hard luck stay. Alright. Part B. Ooh, alpha beta. The equation has roots alpha beta, find the value of, alright, manipulation of roots, look up thing. 3x squared minus 6x minus 2 is equal to 0. Write down what A is, write down what B is, and write down what C is. We know that how the sum of the roots is equal to minus B over A, and we know that how the product of roots is equal to C over A. Minus B over A will be minus 6 over 3, which is 6 over 3, which is 2. C over A is minus 2 over 3. We want to know what 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta is. I showed this shortcut on one of my social media channels. So we could hit them this multiplication, 1 by beta is beta. Hit them this multiplication, 1 by alpha is alpha. Leave the operation in between. Hit them with this multiplication over alpha beta. Right, and that's how we can find the LCM of any two fractions. Don't substitute yet. I recommend put the alpha plus beta over alpha beta. Alpha plus beta is 2 divided by minus 2 over 3. If it is still a little trouble to do this one, go back to primary school. 2 divided by minus 2 over 3. 2 multiplied by 3 over minus 2. Bam bam, we get minus 1. And we get minus 3 as the answer. I link in that paper yet, boy. Part C. I show the paper go circulate just now. Right. John's grandparents started a university fund for him at a bank with $4,000. All right. The bank offers two options for interest. Option 1 is $240 per annum, which is $240 per year, or option 2, 5% of the current balance per year. Determine the sum of money in the university fund at the beginning of the 9th year for both options. All right, so we go ahead and do option 1, then option 2. How much marks was this? This is a 6-mark question. All right, so option 1. If big man collecting $240 per year, the sum of money in the university fund at the beginning of the 9th year is going to be the money in the fund at the end of the 8th year. So we say at the end of the 8th year, the interest will be equal to $240 multiplied by that 8 years. 240 multiplied by 8, 1920. And the amount of money at the end of the 8th year that could be the beginning of the 9th year. We should have put this first. This statement should have go first. John will have the 1920 plus his 4,000, 5920. 1920 plus the 4,000, 5920. This question give you trouble. The cake one. Option 2, 5% of the current balance per year. So this one will follow either AP or GP. Let me figure it out, right? So at the end of the compound interest, well, boy, this could be the sum of the money in the first 8 years. So we're looking for S8. Yeah, this will follow a geometric progression. 5% of the current balance per annum. All right, so we go do the geometric progression method first, and then we go do the rigorous method after. All right? If it is, or I get problems with this question, I would have given, or would I get the recommendation, leave it out and come back to it in the end. All right? But we go spend some time on it here. We just half an hour in. So for option 2, 240 per annum. 5% of the current balance per annum. So let me say A is equal to $4,000. R is 5%. Now, the compound, it have a compound interest formula, right? Let me just get the compound interest formula here. This compound interest formula. P into 1 plus R over N to the power N T, or to the power T. Yeah, to the power NT. Let me try a thing. The sum at the end of the 8 years, well, S sub n is equal to A into 1 minus R to the n over 1 minus R. 4,000 into 1 minus 5%, which is 5 over 100 to the power 8 over 1 minus 5 over 100. Let me see what this gives us. Hopefully I remember that formula correctly. Sum of a GP. All right, cool. Just now, fellas. Just now. Relax. 4,000 into 1 minus 5 over 100, that is 12.05 to the power 8 divided by 1 minus 0.05. No, that'll look into wholesomely. So I more than likely feel A is equal to P into 1 plus R over N to the power N T. I'm gonna check something here, right? Now it's not a formula you're gonna have to learn in art maths. There's a accounts formula, but I see it come, right? 4,000 1 plus 5%, which is 0.05 over n. N is the number of times in the year that the n will be 1 to the power 8. 1.05 to the power 8. That's looking more like it. It's supposed to work too, you know. Because at the end of the 8th year, that could be the sum of the first 8 years. Let me check back this calculation here, right? 4,000 into 1 minus 0.05. And that was raised to the power of 8. Oh. Alright, I see my mistake. I saw my mistake. It was 5 over 100 to the power 8. Right? 5 divided by 100 to the power 8. That is this. Jesus Christ. That is this little thing here, right? Just now. Yeah. Into 1 minus 0.05 to the power 8 divided by equal 1 minus 0.05. We use the compound interest formula. And I pass, I must have got 30 horse. Why use 8 and not 9? We're using 8 because they want the sum of the money at the beginning of the 9th year, which will be the sum of the money at the end of the 8th year. Alright, so this formula here, I'll go back to the GP's approach to it, right? Good lord. 4,000 into 1 plus 0.05 to the power 8. Alright, allow me, I'll go back to the GP's approach to it. 5909.82. Right, this is using this formula here. Alright, I will get back to the GP's approach for this one. Alright, so we're moving on. Number 3. Okay, question. They just what the coordinates are the center of the circle. Right? X squared plus y squared minus 8x minus 18y plus 93 is equal to 0. There are 3 different forms for this particular equation. One form is x squared minus 2fx plus y squared minus 2gy plus c is equal to 0. So what must go here to maintain minus 8? 4. What must go here to maintain minus 18 and 9 is of the form x squared minus 2fx plus y squared minus 2gy plus c is equal to 0, where fg, which is equal to 4, 9, is the center of the circle. Yeah, number. This last one here was a little catch ass question. Right, but don't fight them. If I get it wrong, don't fight them. Alright? Yeah, I know this formula. We don't really have to learn of this formula, but that's small thing. We digress. Find the length of the radius. Alright. So So this is part 1, part 2. Brother man, I am going to write back all my statement. And the radius is equal to the square root of f squared plus g squared minus r, which is the square root of f squared plus g squared minus 93. Jump on my calculator. Look at that one time. 16 plus 81, take away 93 is 4. Square root of 4, which is 2 units. Find the length of the radius. Radius r is 2 units. So why I can't find the sum of the first 9 years? Right, I'll go back again to explain it again, right? Determine the sum of money in the university fund at the beginning of the 9th year. Remember, he gets $240 per year, right? So how I see it, at the end of the first year, he gets $240. At the end of the second year, he gets $240. At the end of the third year, he will get the next $240. So at the end of the 8th year, he's going to get 240 multiplied by 8, which will be the amount of money he starts with in the 9th year. Find the equation of the normal to the circle. All right, so a sketch, oh good lord. A sketch going to be your best friend here, right? Equation of the normal to the circle at the point 2, 8. So let O be the center, which we got to be 4, 9, right? And let A be 2, 8. And normal is parallel to a radius. Parallel lines have the same gradient. So if I calculate the gradient of OA, I am going to get the gradient of the normal at the point 2, 8. So I'll let these two things. I will also let the normal at 2, 8 be L1. The gradient of OA is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, x1 y1, x2 y2. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 8 minus 9 is minus 1, minus 2, which is a half. And this is the gradient of L1. And we state that how parallel lines have the same gradient. Parallel lines have the same gradient. Also, we'll state that how a radius, or we could just state that how OA is parallel. This is your symbol for parallel to L1. Equation of L1 using 2, 8. This could be my x1 and my y1. Formula y minus y1 is m into x minus x1. Y minus 8 is a half into x minus 2. Y is a half x minus 1 plus 8. 1/2 x plus 7 is of the form y is mx plus c, where m is my gradient, is a half, and c is the y-intercept, which is equal to 7. Well, Matthew, you could wait, you know, dog. You could wait how long you want until I'm not sharing paper, given what happened with paper 2 for maths. As far as it's concerned, this is just practice. Vectors. The position vectors of 2 points A and B relative to an origin are such that unit vector AB. Alright, so they should have said the unit vector in the direction of AB. So we're going to say let the unit vector AB be U hat. U hat is equal to the vector AB divided by the size of the vector AB. Now the bacchanal is to get AB. Jump in working column. AB is AO plus OB minus OA plus OB minus, if you want to leave it in IJ form, you could go ahead. If you want to turn it into vector form, you could go ahead. 3 minus 1 plus 5 minus 4. Minus 3 plus 5 is 2. And that is 1 minus 4 is minus 3. And then we could get the size of OB one time. Sorry, the size of AB one time is going to be the square root of 2 squared plus minus 3 squared. 4 plus 9. 9 and 4 is 13. So root 13 units. So AB by 2i minus 3j. 2i minus 3j all over root 13. And if you want to separate it, that is 2 over root 13i minus 3 over root 13j. The acute angle AOB in degrees to 1 decimal place. So let the angle between OA and OB be theta. Now, a little sketch will always be helpful here, right? OA is 3 minus 1. So that's down here, right? And OB is 5 minus 4. That is down here. So we end up down here, right? This is the angle AOB. Right? Other sketches is always helpful. So we use the dot product. So dot product says that OA dotted with OB is mod OA mod OB cos theta. So let me dot the vectors. 3 minus 1, that is OA, dotted with OB, which is 5 minus 4. We have to go and get the size of OA and the size of OB. Jump in working column. The size of OA could be the root of 3 squared plus minus 1 squared. That is root 10. 9 and 1 is 10. And the size of OB is the root of 5 squared plus minus 4 squared. 25 and 16. No shame in that. 25 plus 16, 41. Root 41. Root 10, root 41. Cosine theta. The dot product will be 15. Take away 15 plus 4 actually. 19. So we get 19 over, make it a little bigger, root 10 root 41 is cosine theta. Theta is equal to cosine inverse root 10, 19 over root 10 root 41. 19 divided by the square root of 10 multiplied by the square root of 41, the square root of 41. Cos inverse of that, 20.22 degrees. So 1 decimal place. Now, what we could have done here, right? Because this is a trigonometric equation, and don't get frightened because this is a thing. Remember, we have more than one solution for theta, but they did say that the acute angle theta. So if you want to show off a little bit, you could come here and you can say cosine is positive here and here. My principal value is going to be 20.2 degrees. Theta is the principal value, which is 20.2 degrees in my first quadrant. Theta is also 360 degrees minus 20.2 degrees. But this here is, it is not acute. This is, again, no shame in doing this. 360 take away 20.2, 339.8 degrees. Then I say, but theta is acute. Therefore, theta is 20.2 degrees only. Again, don't get scared because of this. This is just a little additional piece of working you could do if you want to show off. Right, so this trig section was actually pretty simple so far, right? And now watch the trig equation. They're between 0 and 180 degrees. Cake. 2 sine squared theta is equal to 3 cosine theta. So all actually got a really easy trigonometric equation to solve. How was the trigonometric proof? Because I haven't watched that as yet. That's okay if time is limited. I understand time is limited on an exam. You don't have to do it. Alright, you don't have to. Recall, sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is 1. So sine squared theta is 1 minus cos squared theta. 2 into 1 minus cos squared theta is 3 cosine theta. 2 minus 2 cos squared theta is 3 cosine theta. I'm moving everything on the right hand side. I will get 0 is equal to that, which is the same thing as saying that is equal to 0. So I'm going to end up with 2 cosine squared theta plus 3 cosine theta minus 2 is equal to 0. Some of you all will go and make a substitution here. You don't have to make the substitution here. This is just a quadratic in terms of cosine theta. 2 by minus 2 is minus 4. I'm looking for the numbers which will be 4 and minus 1. So 2 cosine squared theta plus 4 cosine theta minus cosine theta minus 2 is equal to 0. Again, if you let x be cosine theta, you're good to go. 2 cosine theta into cosine theta plus 2. Yeah, plus 2. Take away 1 into cosine theta plus 2 is 0. Cos theta plus 2 into 2 cos theta minus 1 is 0. We get cosine theta is minus 2. We say that this has no solutions. And you tell them why. Minus 1 is less than or equal to cosine theta is less than or equal to 1. The cosine curve is between minus 1 and 1. So in this case here, it have no solutions. Or cosine theta is a half. All right, if cos theta is a half, we have to dive into the quadrants, and I had to show where it goes out of the domain. My principal value is cosine inverse of a half, which I believe is 60 degrees. Let's just double check it. Cos inverse of 0.5, 60 degrees. Cosine is positive in quadrant 1 and 4. In quadrant 1, theta is the principal value, which is 60 degrees. In quadrant 4, is 360 minus 60 degrees, which is 300 degrees. And this is out of the given domain. Therefore, theta is 60 degrees only for the given domain. All right, next question. Just put that there. Put that there. Close. Okay. Next one was, I believe, the proof. Jesus Christ. Well, I'm not seeing the proof here. Let me see how hard the proof is to do now. Bam, bam, bam. The proof is easy, boy. All right. So we say required to prove that 1 over 1 minus sine x minus 1 over 1 plus sine x is 2 tan x over cos x, followed by proof. Naturally, we go take the left-hand side. We get 1 over 1 minus sine x minus 1 over 1 plus sine x. And if I don't know anything to find LCM, we could multiply this way, which is 1 plus sine x by 1. Take away, multiply this way, 1 minus sine x multiplied this way, 1 minus sine x into 1 plus sine x. Fix up the top. I get 1 plus sine x minus 1 plus sine x divided by the below is a difference of 2 squares kind of way, right? If you wanted to expand out the denominator, you could have done so. But the denominator is going to work out to 1 minus, show it, 1 squared minus sine x squared. That's a difference of 2 squares on the denominator. The numerator works out to be 2 sine x. The denominator works out to be 1 minus sine squared x. Now, you have to recall, all right? You could recall it literally anyway. So what I usually do in the beginning of a proof, I have my recall line. So this is my recall line here. And any identities I need to recall, I just jam it in this line. I recall that sine squared x plus cos squared x is 1. Therefore, cos squared x is 1 minus sine squared x. So this is going to be 2 sine x over cos squared x. I'll also recall that sine x over cos x is tan x. This is 2 sine x over cos x multiplied by 1 over cos x, which is 2 tan x over cos x, which is equal to the right hand side, and at the end you write your Q, E, D. You free to see the solutions, boy? That was number 3. We are number 4 now. So after that exam, I hear real complaints about this number 4 question. Who get problems with this number 4 question? Let me hear it. You put the box, that's small thing. If you put the box, that's small thing. No scene with that. A function given by y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c has a gradient of 9 minus a half x and a stationary value of 5. The vector answer wrong, you think? I don't think so. I could always check it and see. I mean, I prone to making mistakes too. I got my angle between that is to be 20.2. Let me check and see. Right, let me check and see. Alright, so if I have two vectors, one of the vector was where it is 3 minus 1, 3 comma minus 1. I have to put 0 comma 0, 0 comma 0. And the next vector was 5 comma minus 4. So we have two vectors here and here. And I want the angle between them two vectors. Yeah, that question is correct. That answer is correct for the vectors. 20.22, 20.2. Right, it's fine. That's fine. Mistakes this happen. Alright, back to this one. This curve has a gradient that at a stationary value of 5. Determine the values of a, b, and c in the function. Alright. We know that the gradient of a curve is given by dy dx. So I'm going to differentiate this here. So I'll get dy dx is equal to 2a plus b. They gave me the gradient here. So I know that I'll let 2a plus b, 2ax, sorry, plus b be 9 minus a half x. I have the same number of variables on both sides. I can equate corresponding coefficients. So equate corresponding coefficients. This was a question at the specimen paper 2018, I believe. So my coefficient of x on the right, on the left, sorry, is 2a is equal to minus a half. A could be minus a quarter. And I get b is equal to 9. So I get a and b. They say that this has a stationary value at 5. Now, if this here is the gradient function, I can calculate the value of x. Alright? So I can say, let 9, well, I could say at a stationary point, dy dx is equal to 0. So I'm going to let 9 minus 1/2 x equals 0. 9 is a half x, and 18 is equal to x. So we have the stationary value when x is 18, y is 5 from the question. I can now use this to calculate c. So I can say y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. We know that how 18, 5, that is the maximum or minimum point on the curve. There's minus, so it will be a maximum point, but we know is a point on the curve. Therefore, x is 18, y is 5. 5 is equal to minus a quarter into 18 squared plus 9 into 18 plus c. (18 squared) divided by minus 4 plus 9 into 18, 81, and 5 take away that, 76, minus 76. Y is equal to minus a quarter x squared plus 9x minus 76. Fellas, me link no videos yet, right? No papers yet. I'll look and compile all these things now, right? Just pause the video and compile all these things here. Next, determine the nature of the stationary points. Well, we could use the sense. We could use the brain. We can simply say that the coefficient of x squared is negative. So therefore, this is a maximum point. So y is equal to minus a quarter x squared plus 9x minus 76. We can simply say that our a is less than 0. Therefore, this curve is a maximum point, and you will get your 2 marks for it. If you want to show you're working, you'll differentiate twice. We know that our dy dx is minus a half x plus 9, and the 2y over dx squared is minus a half, which is less than 0, which implies a maximum point. That is working behind it, right? Or if you wanted to complete the square, you gotta complete the square and state that it's a maximum point. Either or is fine. Regardless which way you do it, you go get your marks. Velocity time. A drone tracks the movement of an object in motion on the ground. The following movements are recorded. It moves at a constant velocity of 4 meters per second for 5 seconds. Its velocity increases uniformly, and it moves at that velocity, then it slowly sketch the graph. All right, so let me sketch the graph here, right? So it moves at a constant velocity of 4 meters per second for 5 seconds. Now remember, the question never said that how it started at rest. So we are going to assume that the drone started tracking the motion of the object while it was already moving. All right, so it come like if you now turn on the TV and a TV show going on, you don't see the TV show from the beginning. Same kind of principle here. While this thing is moving on the ground, we started recording. And from the start, we started recording 4 meters per second. This is my velocity in sketch the graph. Yeah, this is my velocity in meters per second. And this is my time in seconds. ms minus 1. So at 4 meters per second, he moved for 5 seconds. Its velocity increased uniformly for 3 seconds. So with velocity going up for 3 seconds, so 3 seconds later, that will be 8 seconds, and the velocity was recorded to be a little 10 meters per second. It moves at that velocity for 7 seconds. So at 10 meters per second, he moved at this velocity for 7 seconds. Right? And don't crucify me because these things are lining up. Right? I will just draw it freehand. He moved at this velocity for how long, boy? For 7 seconds. So 8 and 7 is 15. And it moves, it slows uniformly until it comes to rest after 4 seconds. So brother man comes to rest after 4 seconds. So brother man here gonna be 19. So that's a velocity time graph. Yeah? How much I got? Pressure on the camp with this one, boy. I feel like a couple people butcher this because I sure men start at the origin. For this. But that's just our 3 marks, right? So yet again, we digress. Even if you started at 0, this part, you will still get correct, right? You're still going to get correct. Calculate the distance traveled by the object in the second part of the journey. So the second part of the journey would be between this here. This going to be the second part of the journey. And I'm going to call this A1. Whenever you're drawing any diagram, I always recommend use the words let so you can put anything you want in the diagram. So the distance traveled is equal to the area under a velocity time graph. For the second part of the journey, we will call that, let me call it A2 now. Since this is the second part of the journey, we could call it anything we want. We could call it Bob if we want to. So A2, area of A2 is that trapezium half the sum of the parallel sides multiplied by the perpendicular distance between them. So that will be half. The sum of the parallel sides will be 4 and 10. And the distance between them is 3. Again, don't have no shame. 4 plus 10 is 14 by 3. 42 divided by 2. 21 meters. So the distance traveled is 21 meters. All right, we're going again. Let's check in the chat a little bit there, see what all up to. Determine the object's acceleration in the final part of the journey. Well, that's not acceleration, that's a deceleration, or it's a negative acceleration. We know that our acceleration is the gradient of a velocity time graph. Over here, you can use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is the point 1510. This is the point 19,0. because I have the word let, I can let this be xy. So the gradient of xy is the acceleration of the final part of the journey. Another way you could calculate this is rise over run, vertical distance over horizontal interval. You're going to get the same thing. You're going to get 10 over, I believe this could be 4. 10 over 4. And I slap a negative in front of it because the line goes in that particular direction. All right, but we could go old school. We will go with the long time gradient formula. UD. So I believe this was x and this was y. x1, y1, x2, y2. So the gradient of xy, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 minus 10 over 4, which is minus 5 over 2 meters per second. And a state, a negative acceleration is a deceleration. But they asked for acceleration, which will be the negative 5 over 2. The deceleration will be positive 5 over 2. Right, you can put it as a decimal if you want to go. Number 5, home stretch, boy. Home stretch. Consider a toy truck moving along a miniaturized racing course with an acceleration of a in terms of t 9t squared plus 2t minus 1, where t is the time in seconds. Assume that the speed of the toy truck is measured in centimeters per second. Alright, no scene. Outline how an equation for speed of the truck will be found using the equation. Alright, cool. So we know the acronym SVA. If we need to go up, we need to integrate with respect to t. If we need to go down, we need to differentiate with respect to t. I have acceleration, I want speed or velocity. This here is displacement. This is velocity, which is speed. Right? So we know that how the integral velocity is going to be the integral of a with respect to t, which is the integral of 9t squared plus 2t minus 1 with respect to t. Find the speed of the truck at t equals 10 seconds. They didn't give no conditions here, boy. All right. Given that they didn't give no conditions for the velocity, we can make the assumption that when t is equal to 0, v is equal to 0. So I can say that our v is equal to this part 2. 9t cubed over 3 plus 2t squared over 2 minus t plus c, where c is a constant. Right, let me just look in the rest of the question and see if they give any conditions. Find the distance, they didn't. Consider a toy truck moving along a miniaturized racing course with an acceleration with t is time in seconds. Assume that the speed of the toy truck is measured in that. Outline how an equation for the speed of the truck would be found using the given equation. Alright, no scene. So we could assume that v is equal to 0 when t is equal to 0. So I end up getting c is equal to 0. So v is going to be 3t cubed plus 2 plus t squared minus t. This is v in terms of t. When t is 10, v could be 3 into 10 cubed plus 10 squared minus 10. 3 into 10 cubed plus 100. Take away 10. 3090. GPU by 3090 centimeters per second. Wait now, man, just going and creating accounts. You could big up, you could big up yourself. I here for a purpose, and everybody else enjoying what going on, and again, solutions. Alright. Find the distance covered by the truck between 5 and 10 seconds. Express your answer to the nearest whole number. Alright. So, part 4, no, part 3. We know that our s is the integral of v with respect to t, which is 3t to the power 4 over 3 plus t to the power 3, not over 4, over 3 minus t squared over 2 plus k, where k is also a constant. Now, yet again, they didn't give us no conditions. So we could assume that when s is 0, t is 0, which will result in k being equal to 0. These types of questions could be quite tricky, right? They could be quite tricky. I wouldn't really go into in depth, but we can take this here step by step by step by step. This here will be, right? I'm just thinking through it, right? Let me just check something here to see if it makes sense and not hot up all ahead, right? Let me just check something here for you. 3t cubed plus t squared minus t. All right. 3 cubed plus minus. And I want it between 5 and 10, so we got 2. All right. No c. We got 2. So what we can say here, we could leave out this here. You're going to get full marks, right? You're going to get full marks for this one. So we don't have to fight up. We could put in the limits, 10 and 5. Nothing wrong with putting in the limits there. 10 and 5. 3 into 10 to the power 4 over 4 plus 10 cubed over 3 minus 10 squared over 2. Take away 3 into 5 to the power 4 over 4 plus 5 to the power 3 over 3 minus 5 to the power 2 over 2. Going on. 3 into 10 to the power 4 divided by 4 plus 10 cubed over 3 minus 100 over 2. I'm getting 7, 7, 8, 3 and a third. Take away 3 into 3/4. 3 into 5 to the power 4 over 4 plus 5 cubed over 3 minus like 25 over 2, 49, 12, 4, 9, 7, and 11 over 12, 7, 7, 8, 3, and 1/3. Take away 7, 2, 8, 5, and 5 over 12 meters. That's a real centimeters, sorry. It's a real weird number. A real weird number. Right, barring I make any mistake. I don't think I make any mistake. Well, I get 7286. For the first one, let me check it over. 10 to the power 4 by 3 divided by 4. I 7500, right? So I'll write this down as average. 7500 plus 10 cubed is 1000 over 3 minus 100 over 2 plus 1000 over 3 take away 100 over 2. Yeah, that's correct. And I believe the second one correct as well. 5 to the power 4. Just double checking here, right? By 3 divided by 4. I get 468.75 plus 125 over 3 minus 25 over 2. Let me see. Plus 125 over 3 minus 25 over 2. Ooh, 507 and 11 twelves. I get 497 and 11 twelves. Right, so 507. So I must make a little boo there. 25 by 5 is 125 on 3 minus 25. Good. So 7783 and 1/3. Take away this. 7783 and 1/3. Take away the answer. 7275.4. 7275.42 centimeters. Again, barring I make some kind of mistake, it's a kind of weird kind of number, boy. To the nearest whole number, 7275 cm. To the nearest whole number. 7286. Now wait. Pressure what you boy. Pressure. Right, pressure. Joel, you take your time. Right? You need to take your time. Alright. Part B, integration. Kick 2x plus 3 squared dx. I think it's easiest to just expand this out instead of using a little integration by substitution here. The integral of 4x squared, 3 to the 6 to the 12, plus 9 dx. And we get 4x cubed over 3 plus 12x squared over 2 plus 9x plus c, where c is a constant. Right, you can leave it like that. If you want to simplify the 12 over 2 and put it as 6, you could go ahead. This part 1. For these, I could just write on the question. The integral of 5 cosine 2x dx. In my working column, I have y is equal to sine x. So dy dx is cosine x. So when I differentiate sine, I get cosine. When I integrate cosine, I will get back positive sine. So I'll get 5 sine 2x. And I have to divide by the differential of the brackets, which is 2. I'll put plus k, where k is a constant. Part C. Bring this one across. If dy dx is 6x minus 10, y is 12, easy. So if I were to integrate the integral of dy dx with respect to x, this is y. So y is going to be the integral of 6x minus 10 with respect to x. Y going to be 6x squared over 2 minus 10x plus c, where c is a constant. The people say that when x is 0, y is 12. When y is 12, x is 0. So 12 is 3 into 0 squared minus 10 into 0 plus c. I get 12 is equal to c. So therefore, y is equal to 3x squared minus 10x plus 12. I've seen a question here. So do it the other way. The next way long, boy, if you're talking about the kinematics question, the next way requires us to take it second by second by second, but you don't have to do it like that, right? And I am going to go through that because it makes sense. You're going to get the same answer. All right, number 6. Write the raw data. Okay, this one is pretty simple. The raw data will be 30, 33, 37. They didn't give us a key for this stem and leaf. So we're going to assume the key is 10 to 1, right? 42, 44, 46, 47, 49, 51, 53, 53, 56, 60, 67, 67, 71, and 79. Piece of cake. We have these 3 things to do here. Measures of central tendency. Determine the following measures. The median is the middle, so you can just cancel first with last, right? How much scores we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 scores. And plus 1 over 2 is 18 over 2, which is 99 score. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 51 could be the median. Alright, so if you want to show it, you cancel first with last, first with last, first with last, first last, first last, first last, first last, first last. That is a median. The mean exam score, we're going to add up all the scores and divide it by 17. Because we had the raw data, it's easy to do it like this. 30 plus 33 plus 37 plus 42 plus 44 plus 46 plus 47 plus 49 plus 51 plus 53 plus 53 plus 56 plus 60 plus 67 plus an x 67 plus 71 plus 79. 885. You can write the formula. sigma x over n, 885 over 17, 52.06. The modal score or scores 53 and 67. 53 and 67. Easy peasy. How do they determine a distinction? Distinction is now official thing, is nothing CXC have written in paper. I think that just actually that or a Caribbean based thing. They just say we just call it a distinction when you get all A's in a profile. That we just call it that. Right? Part 4. So easy all the statistics questions come by. Jesus Christ. 4 marks are just substitute things. Given that for the data set, sigma x squared is that and sigma x is that, find the standard deviation. All right. So S is the square root of 48999. Take away this squared, which is 885 squared over n, which is 17, divided by 17 minus 1. So easy. All right, the hardest PCS to actually plug it into your calculator, right? So just take it in parts, take it in stride. 48999, take away 885 squared over 17 divided by 16, and is the square root of that answer, which is 13.53. Look at that. I find a giveaway marks, boy. Where is that? If a student needed to score at least half the total marks possible to pass the exam, so at least half was the exam out of 100, give him read the information. Out of 80. All right. So if he has to score at least 40, it means he has to score 40 and more to pass the exam. Determine the probability of a student failing. So how much students failed? Who get 40 and less? Well, 39 and less. 3 students, 3 out of 17. So the probability that a student fails is just 3 out of 17. Correct. Yeah, the probability that a student fails is 3 out of 17. Right. The next piece there. Given that all this thing is, this probabilities question was really easy, way. Given that a randomly selected student has passed the exam, what's the probability that the student scored over 60? All right, so this is conditional probability, right? So given that a randomly selected student passed the exam, so what we could do one of two things, right? We could observe the paper, and we could see that how Given that the student passes the exam, how much students pass the exam? We have, if 3 students failed, 14 students would have passed the exam, right? So we have the students who pass the exam. Let me do it in stride, right? So if we let A, well, the probability of A given that B has occurred is the probability of A intersect B over the probability of B. So we want to know the probability that a student passes the exam. Let me say the mark is X. X is greater than 60, given that the student, given that around, let me say the student passed the exam, right? What's the probability that the student scored over 60? He passed the exam, he had to be more than or equal to 40. That will be 60 and 40. That will be how much students pass the exam? That will be the 14 over 17 divided by the probability that a student scores over 40. No, 4 over 17, sorry. Divided by 14 over 17. That will be 2 over 7. I write the wrong side. I don't think so. What's the probability that a random student passes the exam? That could be 14 over, yeah. I wrote it wrong side, my bad. I did write it wrong side. And it's supposed to be 3 over 17. Correct? Let me think about it a little bit again. My brain. Days which part a little shut down on an exam. Is this the last question? Just 2 more pieces. All right, so let me buckle down and do this question here, right? All right. So let X be the variable scores in the exam, right? Now listening to all that as well, I think it's over 3 over 17. I think I had it correct, you know. I most believe I had it correct. And I get 2 over 7. That is correct. Right? Yeah, that is correct. That is very correct. Based on the semi-leaf, describe the distribution of the data set. Pull this across. Well, at least they give me lines. They finally give me lines to write things in, fellas. Hey! Alright, now when I say that, when I want to talk about the distribution of the data set, usually it is look for a box and whisker. Right? You just look for a box and whisker, right? You just check the length of your whiskers. We go how to calculate quartiles. So from the first half of the data, so follow it, man. From the first half of the data, first with last, first with last, first with last. When I add these two and divide it, I will get Q1. That will be 43. First and last, first and last, first and last. When I add these two and divide it, I will get Q3. 60 plus 67. And we're showing this working just now, right? Divided by 2. Q3 is 63.5. So Q1 is 43. and Q3 is 63.5. And Q2, what we get for Q2 was 51, and yeah, Q2 was 51. So Q2 minus Q1 is 51 minus 43. And again, it's no shame in this 8. And then we go have Q3 minus Q2, 63.5 minus 51, 12.5. So here we have Q2 minus Q1 is less than. Q3 minus Q2 is positively skewed. Therefore, the distribution is positively skewed. Is positively skewed. And I had plenty for 2 marks, boy. But then again, they give you 4 marks for just substituting things inside, right? Alright, your friend suggests that a bar graph or histogram could be used to represent this data. Advise your friend which graph is the better option and give one reason to support. So this is subjective, right? If you say histogram is better, give you a reason. To me, I will think a bar graph will be better here because we're dealing with discrete variables, not continuous, discrete data, right? You will more use a histogram to represent groups of data. So I'll say a bar graph will be the better option here because the data is discrete. And that is the end of the exam. If it said histogram, you could say that it's easier to represent the data in intervals rather than individually, right? But that's if you want to draw the intervals. If you want to draw the individual bars for each student, no problem with that, but you state so in your answer. So this is subjective. This is real subjective, right? So depending if you have bar chart or if you have histogram, what I recommend you do, just go on Google and look up a reason, an advantage of a histogram over a bar chart, and see if you had something like that in your answer. Discrete means whole numbers. Continuous means you have things like point. So like weight is continuous variables. Discrete variables are things like how much marbles in a can. Continuous could be what is the weight of each marble in the can. Stem and leaf is not good for distribution. So your answer, I put stem and leaf is not good. What are you bringing up stem and leaf for? Oh, you see that based on the stem and leaf describe the distribution of the data set. Nah, you go lost that 2 marks there, boy. So yeah, you go lost that 2 marks. Because they would expect you to think about figuring out what the length of the whiskers is, so constructing a box and whisker. Box and whisker easy to make. Right, real easy to make. If you want to donate, go to my Twitch. Twitch accepts donations. I'm up my Twitch one time. I'll have to go and follow Twitch for the fellows who just play Apex. For the fellows who just play the Apex and you watch and stuff. I don't play COD no more. Alright, you could come on the stream. I stream on weekends alone. You put the quarter looking, but you go get marks if you put the quarter looking. Now for paper 1, I have all the solutions for all the maths paper 1s on the channel, right? Or you could go and look at them. If I see any mistakes, because I mean, like I said, I prone to making mistakes as well. Right? Why this thing is focusing, Dread? I prone to making mistakes as well. So nothing wrong. If it have a little mistake in my working, just leave a comment stating it, right? Do ask me what going on with this. This is pressure. All right, nice more thing. All right, so I do hope that the solutions were helpful to everybody, right? More than helpful. If all you want, please subscribe. Please subscribe. French was 59 repeats. I hope all the others do so too. At maths are rare repeats. Pure maths are the most repeats in the world. All right, I don't know why CXC don't make up new questions for pure maths. But yeah, hope everything was good. Barring that one GP's question, I'll go work on it. And what I'll do, I'll probably make a good video with the solutions, about a half an hour video with detailed solutions, just talking through the solutions instead of working through, right? So yeah, go and watch the solutions for all the advanced papers. I think I have the specimen paper 2011 and 2018 as well. I do not have specimen paper 2021. I will do that and I'll put it up, right? Yes, pure maths is very, very, very fun. Right? For those who would like to join the lessons for pure maths, you can message me at that number, right? 7934754. For those who want pure maths lessons. Now, pure maths lessons is we starting it in August. So by the time I'll finish module 1 in school, we should already be on module 2. And we will finish everything before, and I will help you all with your SBA for pure maths. Pure maths do not have internal assessments no more. Pure maths has SBAs. So if I get you to the pure, we start in the pure in August. So if we get 85, is that a 1? A 1 does not constitute of your physical mark alone. Little things like statements. For example, if I go back, a little thing like quoting the remainder factor theorem and thing. All them little things does add towards your distinction. All right, so it's not just a physical mark. Yes, if you get 100, you're going to get your distinction, but these little things help. I don't know how is CXC criteria for the marks, so I really can't help you there, but 85 is a good mark. That means you get lost 15 marks in the exam. So I will say that's very, very, very close to a distinction. Right? Alright guys. Hour 53 minutes. That wasn't bad to do it. So again, message if you want to join the pure maths lessons. Subscribe. Go and follow my Twitch, fellas. We will be hosting Apex tournaments very, very soon, as long as we have enough teams with cash prizes for first place. First place only. So jump out. We're playing both on the ruler and M and K. So if you know all the bad and all the real bad, jump out. Alright, Talia. That looking like it there. If you want any help with anything, feel free to message. Save my number. That's an important number. Save my number. Right, that's a real important number. FIFA is what you're playing. I give up with FIFA way. After I win out Division 1, how much time back in FIFA 19, I stopped playing FIFA. Right, like I said, make sure and subscribe before you leave. Leave a like. Alright, so after CSEC, tournament down the road, I'm trying to have at least 2 per month. with some Amazon gift cards or some PSN cards or some Microsoft points as prizes. But all I had to be following the stream, all I had to be although had to be subscribed to me, but I mean subscriptions always worth it if all I have Prime and thing all the men could always drop the Prime sub on me now. Right? Yeah, foot champs. Rivals is waste of time. Foot champs is it. Alright, well, I've seen numbers kinda dwindling down there. So I hope all enjoy it. And I didn't do the GP, but I will figure out how to do it properly. So we are go fight up too much of that. But when you use the compound interest formula, it worked. Right? Steam cards also on the table, as long as you're following the channel. You have to be following to enter the tournament. Right? So go and follow my Twitch and turn on the bell so you'll get notified when I go live and when we start in the tournaments and such. That will be after I write all the exams. Excuse me. Alright, fellas.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town.